The following Lawndale Community Cable Television Channel 60 production was made possible by a grant from the Lawndale Cable Usage Corporation.
Good evening, fans, and welcome to tonight's Game of the Week. This is Channel 60 Sports bringing you the very best in South Bay football, high school football action. And, of course, we feature the Bay League here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Tonight's contest features the Hawthorne Cougars coming in with a record of 4-1 in Bay League action against the Torrance Totters coming in also with a record of 4-1. They're 1-1 in Bay League action. The Cougars, of course, are tied at the top, Dan, with Peninsula with a record of 2-0. I'm Rufus Washington, joined with my colleague and friend Dan Simeon, and it's our pleasure to be bringing tonight's contest to you. And Dan, with the records of both of these teams, we should expect this to be a pretty good game.
This is going to be a great contest tonight. Both teams with the identical, as you see the Bay League standings right there. Hawthorne wants to win to continue in pace with Peninsula. Peninsula is playing West tonight, and so it's important for them to win. And same thing holds true for the Torrance Tartars. They have to continue to win. They've got a loss in the conference, so this is going to be a big game for both teams.
As you can see, Peninsula, Hawthorne, Inglewood, and Torrance right up there at the top, and of course West and North, Lusinger and Santa Monica pulling up the rear. Now there are some folks who think that thus far the Torrance team hasn't really played the kind of top flight competition that Peninsula and Hawthorne play. The one thing about it, they've got a chance to prove themselves tonight, though, Dan, as they go into the heart of their schedule.
Well, they really do. They haven't played Inglewood, nor have they played Peninsula yet. And, of course, Hawthorne came off a great game last week, beating Hawthorne, Hawthorne handing Inglewood their first loss. And so Torrance really needs to pick up the pace. They got the meat of the schedule here in the Bay League as they're going to be facing Hawthorne, Peninsula, and they will also be facing real stiff competition.
Well, as you can see, Torrance won the coin toss, and they've elected to receive. They will be moving from our east to the west toward the ocean. And Hawthorne, of course, will be moving in the opposite direction. Hawthorne also tonight, Dan, comes in with a couple of key injuries that changes the complexion of their offensive and defensive attack, and that is Satiana Latu, their quarterback, their leader for the past 2 years, is out with a shoulder injury, and Malachi Huey, their running back and also an excellent defender, is out with a hip injury.
Well, you'll see Herb Shedd at quarterback tonight. He's a speedy player, and he plays much bigger than he is as well. You'll see Gutierrez also in the backfield tonight.
And there's a kickoff, and it's going to sail out of bounds. So, Torrance will take over on a placement. Should be at about the 35-yard line.
Got a pretty good crowd here tonight, as it's a brisk evening. Great night for football. Bay League going at it as we move into the home stretch of the Bay League season.
And the official does put it over on the left hash mark here. And it's going to be 1st and 10 for Torrance. Their quarterback, of course, is Terry Dewan. He's a 6'5", 195-pound senior. Also doubles as the punter. And in a moment, we'll get the the Torrance offensive field set for you. They open by keeping it on the ground. They fumbled, but it is recovered by Torrance. It's going to make it a 2nd and 15. That was Lawndale Maymont in on the tackle for the Cougars.
He sniffed that out real fast and actually caused a fumble. But fortunately for Torrance, they picked it up, and it will be 2nd down and long.
And, of course, Torrance, Dan, has gone throughout this season, and with one motto as their team motto is one family, one heartbeat.
There you go.
We're all in this together, guys. and it's paid off so far in the record. 2nd down and 15 for the Totters now. Once again, they keep it on the ground. This time to get back near the original line of scrimmage. That was Carl Holmes, who also is their leading receiver with the carry on the play. Stopped by Buck McCorvey.
Big Buck.
We've been told, Dan, that Buck may get a few carries tonight in Malachi Huey's place. That'll be a sight to see for sure.
It sure would, but Big Buck, he plays big and he hits hard, so it'd be good to see him in the backfield tonight.
It's going to be a 3rd down and 11 for Torrance now. This is their opening drive of the game. Ball's at the 34-yard line of the Cougars. They line up in a shotgun formation. Indication they're going to pass. Their quarterback looks, passes over the middle, hits his receiver. They've got the 1st down and then some as they cross the midfield stripe. That was number 44, Paul Reese, a 6-foot, 200-pound fullback with the reception.
Tripped up by Nick DeRico on that play. As if he didn't trip him up, he had a full head of steam. Nice pass. The quarterback's a big guy, 6'5". He looks bigger than that to me.
Certainly does. And it was an excellent play by Torrance as they move into Cougar territory. Here you're going to see on the replay the quarterback looks across the field, steps up. There's his pass to Reese. Reese makes a great reception wide open. Back to live action now, fans. They line up in I formation, hand it off to the 3rd back through. He breaks the containment. He's on his way. This is Carl Holmes, and this is going to be a touchdown. So it looks like Torrance is as good as advertised, Dan.
They got a big offensive line, Rufus, and this kid is a heck of a runner, Carl Holmes, 5'10", 205 pounds. He's a great running back. They do a lot of counter plays, Torrance does, and they ran a counter there, and Holmes just broke it for the touchdown.
That was a 45-yard touchdown run for Carl Holmes of the Torrance Totters. And at 9:54 the first quarter, they've broken on the scoreboard first with a touchdown and lead now 6-0 with the extra point attempt coming up.
Holmes leads the Tartars in receiving yards with 193, which I think you mentioned, and but he really is a powerful runner.
Here's the kick is blocked. So the Cougars salvage a little something out of it by blocking the extra point attempt. But nonetheless, here's a replay of the reception that set up the touchdown run. As you can see, it was spotted officially at about the 46-yard line. And if we can, we'll get the replay of the Carl Holmes 46-yard touchdown run.
Well, that's, I think, the quickest touchdown of the season against the Cougars. But the block on the point after will stand the boys in good stead as they're going to take offense now. Let's see what they can do.
Certainly will. It comes with 2 minutes and 6 seconds gone by in the first quarter. Torrance takes a 6-0 lead.
Beautiful night for football. You know that? Beautiful.
Excellent, excellent night. And I think tomorrow is going to be a great day for collegiate football. Of course, the Cougars here at home are clad in their red and gold or cardinal and gold uniforms. Torrance is in white uniforms with what would appear to be blue numbering. If you're at home watching on an old black and white, Torrance is the light colored team and Hawthorne would be the dark colored team. Kicking is Peter Gagliardi for Torrance, and back to receive for the Cougars is going to be, looks like Robbie Hughes and he takes a knee and he's going to be down. That was Randy Tucker, and I think he just had okay. I think we're going to get a chance to see the touchdown run here, fans, in just a moment. And of course, there it is.
Counter play as he goes right up to the left side of center. Unfortunately, a missed tackle there by Herb Shedd, and Holmes is off to the races. Big guy.
Once he got past the line, he was on his way. Randy Tucker went to a knee on that kickoff return in order to properly catch the ball. So he was down at the 12-yard line. This is Marcel Jameson. He picks up a first down, or near a first down, on his first carry of the night. That was Chris Story on the stop for Torrance.
Nice opening run by Marcel Jameson as he goes to the right. Number 63 for the Cougars. He's Omar Souf, great on defense, and he can throw a great block on the offensive line.
And of course, as you look at the offense, yes, that is number 3, Herb Shedd with the carry. But the Cougars come out with another trick play and pick up another first down. So that's 2 consecutive first downs. That was Katie Tuafu.
That was kind of a misdirection play. He was going to hand off to Jamison and then gave it to Katie, and Katie went up the middle. Everybody was fooled, including me.
And I'm told that it shouldn't be Katie, Dan, and that's my fault.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's Ketty.
Ketty. Sorry, Ketty.
Ketty. And of course, our good friend Jose, the cameraman, apprised me of that fact. I'm glad that Ketty himself didn't come and tell me.
Boy, it would have been rough.
Flags on the play as it was a first down play for the Cougars. Let's see what the flags are. It was thrown in the backfield. That was Chris Canetti on the stop for the Totters. Got a clip called against the Cougars, and that's going to set their effort back 15 yards, I believe.
May have been the left end, unfortunately, took a crackdown block and allowed Jamison to make a couple of yards, but that will bring them back, and it'll be first down and a whole lot.
It certainly will be. Looks like it's going to be near 1st and 25 for the Cougars. They've got to get up to the 44-yard line. Ball is spotted right at about the 20. Once again, Herb Shedd's the quarterback. Marcel Jameson in the backfield. They pass it out in the flat, and this one's nearly intercepted. With the interception was Chris Story. Pass intended for Randy Tucker.
You know, when looking at the differences between Latu and Herb Shedd, both of them great athletes. Latu's a little taller and has, I think, a stronger arm, but Shedd plays about 5 feet higher than he is, actually, and he's got some great athletic ability. They're both great players.
Also in the backfield is Milton Gutierrez along with Marcel Jameson. They send Robbie Hughes in motion. Carry off on the left by Gutierrez, picks up a few yards. It's going to be 3rd and long. That was David Rangel, number 45, in on the stop for Torrance.
We see Rodell Maymar leading the way for Gutierrez on that run.
Number 4, Robbie Hughes comes off for the Cougars. Randy Tucker, number 8, is split out on this side. Nick DeRico is out on the left side. Milton Gutierrez in the backfield. Herb Shedd rolls out. Herb Shedd has some running room, looking for a block. Now he's got to run into his containment, and he's going to be brought down about 10 yards short of the first down. That was Milo Casillas on the stop for Cougars. And actually, Dan, it looked like if his blocker had turned around to see him, it may have been sprung for a few more yards on that play.
Absolutely, but that's Herb Shedd. Herb Shedd, a great athletic ability. He can run the ball real well. He's going to run it a lot tonight from that quarterback position.
We've got 7:30 left in the first quarter. Punting situation. Except the Cougars do a trick play, and it comes up short. Shedd took the short snap, threw a pass out in the flat, fell incomplete, and now the Cougars going to have to give the ball over at the 34-yard line. That was a very gutsy call, Dan, by Coach Robbins, because that's going to give Torrance excellent field position.
Well, it sure does. The pass was intended for Gutierrez. You know, it's funny. I thought that he was going to do that. I had a hunch, but I actually thought that Herb was going to run it. Defense will need to dig in here on this series, and we'll have to watch for that full house backfield. You'll see it again right there, and unfortunately,
you saw the pass attempt out of the short snap. Fell incomplete and gives Torrance the ball on downs at the 36-yard line. It's 1st and 10 for the Totters. Totters hand off to the third back through. That's Holmes once again. This time they're going to bring him down after a gain of about 2. The last time they gave him the ball, Dan, he picked up 46 yards and a touchdown.
It's true, but Davis Olunga was right there, had his arms around him, and then 2 more Cougars came in on the tackle and stopped him for a gain of about 2.
One thing you got to say, quite frankly, in terms of Coach Robbins making the decision on that type of call this early in the game, is that he doesn't believe that this Torrance team is as good as their record indicates, quite frankly.
It seems that way, but I'll tell you, Torrance is blocking real well, and this Holmes kid is really good. Very good.
Torrance doing a lot of misdirection plays. They get about 5 on that carry, makes it a 3rd down and 3.
James Green, number 74, he's been leading some blocks. He's 6 feet, 210, and he's a senior. Watch him. He's at the left guard. He's been kind of alternating for the Tartars.
This is a big 3rd down play coming. Of course, the Tartars' offensive line, Dan, is a little smaller this year than it has been in years gone by. They averaged about 270 last year. This year they're down to about 230. Once again, they keep it on the ground. It's a quarterback keeper, and they pick up the 1st down on the play. That was Terry DeWan, who, as we mentioned, is 6'5", 195-pound senior.
He's a big guy. He could have fallen, I think, and got that 1st down.
Certainly. That puts the ball at the 23-yard line. DeWan brings them up to the line of scrimmage. So far, they've shown 3 backs in the backfield along with the quarterback. They've got movement, and that's going to be offsides against the Cougars. Looks like it was number 35 for the Cougars, and of course that is Ketty. Thanks, Dan. I was hesitant for a second. Ketty.
You got to be careful. Ketty was a little over anxious there, and looks like they're keying on Holmes. Holmes seems like their big player, at least out of the backfield. They got this full house, which is an interesting lineup.
So it's going to be a 1st and 5 now for the Tartars at the Cougar 19-yard line. They give it to Holmes once again. Holmes is heading wide right. Holmes is turning upfield, strung out and brought down for little or no gain on the play. Excellent defensive coverage by the Cougars, led by Afe Fanua, along with Buck McCorvey.
Buck McCorvey made him run outside, giving Alfie Fanua enough time to tackle him. Good play by Buck McCorvey.
And actually, that was my mistake on the play, fans. He, in fact, gained enough for the 1st down because they only had a 1st and 5. And from the position of the sideline markers, I thought he hadn't got it, but he did. So it's a 1st and 10 now for the Tartars. Ball's at the 13-yard line. This time they set up in a wishbone. They hand it off to number 3 on the program, and number 3, of course, is Anthony Jones. Jones is a 5'9", 175-pound tailback, and he's a junior. And he picks up very little yardage on the play, maybe 1.
Play was read beautifully by the defensive line of the Cougars. They need to pick up the pace here to keep the Tartars out of the end zone this early with 2 quick scores. They don't want to give up a second score here in the 1st quarter.
We've got 4:42 left in the 1st quarter. The Torrance Tartars lead by a score of 6-0, and they're at the Cougar 11-yard line. It looks like we had a penalty on the play, and in fact we did. They back it up to the 21 now. So that was a 10-yard penalty that they marked off against Torrance. This time out of the shotgun, the quarterback drops back to pass, looks left, is going for his receiver, and it's incomplete, but a flag comes in late. Looks like that's going to be interference. Is going to be called against number 3, Herb Shedd.
Well, that's an interesting call. If it goes as the pass was intended, and I'm not sure about this. I guess it will be. That was an interesting call.
And it is. The referee signals pass interference against the Cougar defense, and that's going to give Torrance the ball at the 10-yard line. Real close play, though, Dan. Real
It was.
close.
It was. I know he had his arm on his back, but I didn't think he pushed off. But in any event, it's first and goal. First and goal.
It's time to keep it on the ground to give it to Carl Holmes. He's stuck in the middle of the pack and finally is brought down for Lilla. No gain on the play.
Alfie Fanua was in on the tackle. I like Alfie. Alfie Fanua and Buck McCorvey. Two big guys who really play hard in the defense. They all do.
And this Holmes at 5'10", 205 pounds, Dan, is a Jerome Bettis, Natron Means type back. I mean, he's small, he's compact, and he's wide.
He sure is.
But he seems to have a lot of speed. As a matter of fact, it doesn't seem we know he has speed. He's already shown us that.
45 yards.
Let's see if Friday the 13th is going to jump up and bite the Cougars tonight. We certainly hope not. Once again, the ball is kept on the ground. There's a fumble on the play. The Cougars are signaling that they've got it. No official signal yet, though. The Cougars say we have it. The referee says no. It's going to be third down.
His knee was on the ground. We're gonna show this again. Alfie Fanua actually came up with a fumble, but I think you'll see that the running back's knee hit the ground first before he lost the ball, and unfortunately for the Cougars, that fumble, as we see it again here, you'll watch the handoff. Never really, well, he had it.
Well, he had it. It was just stripped.
Actually, it was. He did not hit the ground. Interesting call.
There you see the ball under the pile, and I tell you, there were an awful lot of Cougars real close to it. But the referee said that Torrance came up with it, and now it's a 3rd and 13 for them. Shovel pass to the inside, fools nobody. And he's going to be brought down right at about the 9-yard line. He's going to make it 3rd and goal now. That was Paul Reese. They've got a couple of big backs. Reese is 6 feet, 200 pounds himself.
Well, they're tall, but, geez, they're wide. They really are. I mean, here's we see on the replay here. Now, you'll watch as Dewan hits it, and then he just shovels it off. But that's picked up real good. Keith Agee, number 33, right in on that play. David Salunga. And then a host of Cougars.
So we've got 2:20 left in the first quarter as we've got a timeout on the field with the Cougars trailing by a score of 6-0. It's 4th and 8 for 4th and goal. It should be, but the positioning of the yard marker seems to indicate that they could pick up a first down without scoring a touchdown. But at any rate, the Cougars obviously need to make a defensive stop here, Dan.
They really do. Again, they don't want to give up another touchdown here in the first quarter. Torrance, the momentum has been going with them so far, but the Cougar defense, which has been great all year long, has always been really come to the bear here. And if they can stop them here, that'll be great for them.
This timeout, of course, gives us an opportunity to give a shout out to a Cougar from years gone by that we saw at our last broadcast here, and that's Brian Gray. Brian Gray, of course, as you know, played last year for the Cougars, wore jersey number 7, and in fact, when we had the program mix-up, I was calling his name. He said, no, don't put me back. I'm at El Camino now, and in fact, playing defensive back at El Camino in a very, very good junior college program, and he's looking forward to his 4-year experience in a couple of years, Dan.
Brian Gray, great athlete, played great last year in the defensive backfield as well as the quarterback position.
So 4th and 8, they come out in a shotgun. Their quarterback drops back the pass, pulls it down, finally lets it go, and it's going to be incomplete. Under heavy pursuit there by the Cougar defenders, led by number 35 for the Cougars, of course, and that was Keti Tuafu.
He had him. He had the quarterback. Again, Dewan is a big guy, 6'5", 195. But Keti had him and just couldn't complete. Actually overthrew the pass. Good defensive stand by the Cougars.
So with 2:14 left in the first quarter, here we're going to see the replay again. You see Dewan, their quarterback, stepping up. Lets it go and overshoots his receiver in the end zone. Ball sails out of bounds. Good defensive hold by the Cougars, a necessary defensive hold. Herb Shedd back at quarterback, gives it off to number 4, Robbie Hughes. Robbie Hughes has some running room, picks up great yardage on the play as he brings it out to the 35-yard line. That's going to be a first down. Zach Baird on the stop for Torrance. But that play was good for 31 yards as the Cougars started from their own 4-yard line.
As we see it again. Little shovel pass, Hughes. Cuts back inside as he misses a tackle. Cuts in again as another missed tackle by number 25 for Torrance. And he picks up a great gain.
Now we got flags all over the field. Looks like this may be a delay of game against the Cougars.
Let's see what the Mr. Referee.
Okay, it's going to be a procedure penalty against the Cougars. That'll back up their effort 5 yards. But as we were saying about Brian Gray, Danny was saying, hey, you mentioned Charles Allen and our other buddy that we see all the time, Gil Alvarado. He said, what about me? And we assured him that on our next broadcast here from Hawthorne High School at Hal Cap Field, we'd be sure to give him a mention because he's a very fine young man. And we wish all of these guys well, Dan. It's actually good to see them furthering their education because that's the first key to success in life is education. And they're using sports as a tool to accomplish that objective. And we salute them all.
That's the thing. Again, the discipline that you pick up playing a sporting event and then carrying it through. All these players do great jobs here, all the students do, and then carrying it further into higher education, continuing on, it just stands them in great stead for life.
Because I can tell you, I'm a whole lot envious of them because there's nothing left when you get to be 40 except to pay bills and raise kids, man.
I hear you.
Herb Shea, that quarterback, they keep it on the ground. They're going to pick up maybe one on the play. That was Jesse Villarreal on the stop.
Jesse again, 5'8", another wide body, 210.
My Spanish failed me momentarily there. I certainly known that should have been pronounced Jesse Villarreal. So it's a 2nd down and 13. We've got a minute to go. Cougars on the march now at their own 33-yard line. They hand off to Marcel Jamison. Jamison picks up good yardage on the play. It's going to be 3rd and long, however. Should get another play off before this quarter ends.
Jamison following right behind Omar Souf, who snapped that ball, and David Benales. They took their 2 men and drove them out. And Jamison went up the middle and picked up 5 yards.
So once again, if you're just joining us, Herb Shedd, of course, filling in at quarterback for the injured Satiana Latu. Milton Gutierrez in the backfield, along with Marcel Jameson. Here's a fake. Shedd's rolling left. Shedd's got to make a decision soon. He finally makes one. He lets it go. And it's out of bounds. Taken down by one of the sideline players for the Torrance Totters.
Good play by Herb Shedd. He was surrounded and was actually going to be brought down earlier, and I thought they were going to get him in the grass, but they didn't. And he had the nerve enough to throw the ball away to avert a big loss.
Well, he held it as long as he could, and that's certainly the mark of a good quarterback, Dan. Still trying to give his receivers time to get into the pattern. When the pursuit finally caught up, as you say, he just threw it away. Punting situation now for the Cougars. It's going to be a relatively short punt. Let's see, it takes a Cougar bounce. It's going to go down inside the 30 near the 26-yard line. That was Nathaniel Harrison with the punt, I believe, for the Cougars. No, with the down, rather, for the Cougars. So that ends the first quarter. When we come back, the second quarter action, it'll be 1st and 10 for the Torrance Totters. Gives us an opportunity to take a station break here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. We're back to live action here as we start the second quarter. First quarter ended with Torrance Dam putting 6 points on the board on a 46-yard run by Carl Holmes, and they were knocking at the door for more, but the Cougar defense stiffened, held them out, and we start the second quarter with the Cougars only trailing by a score of 6-0.
Absolutely. Of course, that first run by Holmes, it was very, very quick, fastest touchdown scored against the Cougars this season, but the defense really hung in there. I mean, Torrance had first and goal from the 8, and the defense held them off. Just need to get the offense back in gear again, and second quarter has always been a good one for the Cougars.
With the start of the second quarter, that means it's time to call in that pizza order, fans. All right. Hint, you know. Tartars have the ball. Again, they come with 3 backs in the backfield, movement along the Tartar line. I believe that's going to go against one of their big offensive linemen, James Green.
Just a little over-anxious on that play. Bet you $1.50 he was going to throw a block down, and they were going to run right behind him.
Dead ball foul makes it a 1st and 15 now for Torrance. Ball's at the 20-yard line. Speaking of homes, reminding you of a Jerome Bettis, how about those Rams last night?
Absolutely.
I mean, they're sitting atop the NFC West, something they rarely, if ever, accomplished when they were in Los Angeles. That's Holmes with the ball going around the left side. Man, you could see he knocked a couple of guys out of his way.
He certainly did. Big Buck McCorvey had him, but not before Holmes picked up some yards. He is a powerful running back.
And Buck McCorvey was riding shotgun on that play.
That's it.
It's going to make it a 2nd down now for the Tartars. We've just opened the second quarter, fans. It's 6-0 in favor of Torrance. Here you're going to see on the replay the ball being given off to number 4, Carl Holmes. And, of course, he's the workhorse in their backfield. Heads around left side. Buck McCorvey says, I'll jump on right here. He says, come on. Takes him for another yard or 2. This time they keep it on the ground with number 44, and of course that's Paul Reese, and he's going to be stopped after a very short gain by Rodell Maymont.
Rodell held him up, and then a host of Cougars came in to stop number 44 for Torrance, and we'll put them at 3rd down and 6.
3rd and 6 for the Tartars at the 30-yard line. Need to get out to the 36.
Watch the pass to the right. We've got a split end way over to the right side, number 80.
This time they're also in a shotgun formation. Holmes comes out of the backfield. Is looking left, throws across the middle, tipped by Buck McCorvey and nearly intercepted by the Cougars. Excellent defensive play there. Bring up a punting situation for Torrance now.
Great play by Buck McCorvey as he tipped that ball. The snap was high. Luckily, Dewan is tall enough to grab it.
That's a great observation, Dan, because a shorter guy may not have gotten to it. And there's the tip by Buck McCorvey,
right,
as we called originally, and pass falls incomplete.
Looks like he was going for Reese on that play again. Of course, he hit him earlier in the first quarter.
Of course, Dewan, their quarterback, doubles as their punter, gets away an excellent punt. This is Randy Tucker, number 8, back to receive. Tucker trying to get to the corner. He doesn't, however, he's going to be brought down by number 25, Bill Marriott. And he's brought down at the 25-yard line. So with 10:25 left in the first half, Cougars will go on offense from their own 25-yard line.
I think we're going to see Herb Shedd start keeping the ball more. Surprised at the number of passes that he's tried to attempt. Jamison will be running outside a little bit more. The offense needs to gain some control here, get a little momentum, have a drive, a march to get down the field. Let's see.
Marcel Jamison, Milton Gutierrez is in the backfield along with Herb Shedd. Shedd drops out the pass. He rolls right. He throws, hits his man coming out of the backfield. And they pick up the first down on the play. That was Nick DeRica with the reception.
Oh, that's good. They proved me wrong and gained big yardage. There you go.
Cougars move the ball for a first down. Out now at the 45-yard line, just across the 45. Here you see on the replay, good step-up move by Shedd. Excellent pass by Herb Shedd. Hits DeRica wide open. And he's finally brought down by a couple of the Tartars, led by, I believe, Zach Beard on the play. They keep it on the ground. This is Marcel Jameson. He's going to be stopped for no gain. That's Milo Casillas on the stop.
That's a famous name, Casillas. I think there may be a relationship there between Milo and a big guy named Tony Casillas.
My goodness. He's got to make it a 2nd down and 10 now for the Cougars. Cougars still haven't scratched on the scoreboard yet. Goy Casillas certainly did. Was a coach here in years gone by at Hawthorne before the Dan Robbins era. Marcel Jameson with some running room, fans. He's got one man to beat. It's finally brought down, and that was a chest-high or a neck-high tackle by Carl Holmes on that play. Apparently no bad intentions, no flags by the referee. But, man, you talk about what appeared to be a blow to the head, Dan.
Well, it had some – watch, you'll see the replay. But this is a great run by Jameson. Look at this. Great blocking up front as Jameson starts running to his right. And looked like he was going to have position. But number 4, he's a big guy, Carl Holmes.
And actually on the replay, a good hit by Holmes as he actually hit him right under the shoulder pad there. Herb Shedd looking left. Herb Shedd going for Robbie Hughes, but Hughes had broke off the pattern, it appears, and Shedd overthrew him by about 10 yards. That was Nick Leon on the defensive coverage for the Totters.
Interesting. It's interesting that they're passing as much. It seems like they're passing more with Shedd than with Latu, and that's fine. It's great. But it's an interesting play calling so far by Coach Dan Robbins.
Well, Marcel Jameson, number 5, along with Milton Gutierrez in the backfield with Shedd. Jameson is the up back. We're going to have offsides here. That's going to go against Torrance. That was Chris Damko, along with another Totter that was offside on that play. That helps the Cougar cause considerably as it makes it a 2nd down and 5 now. Cougars at the 30-yard line of Torrance, fans. They keep it on the ground. That's Milton Gutierrez with the carry. Gutierrez fumbles on the play. Let's see. Ball still loose, and this is going to be recovered by Torrance. An unfortunate turnover after a huge gain by Milton Gutierrez. He coughs the ball up, and Torrance is going to get it in their own territory. That was Nick Leon with the fumble recovery, I believe, for Torrance.
Unfortunate turn of events for the Cougars as Gutierrez had just picked up some great yardage, and as he was trying again, you'll see on the replay here, Gutierrez going right up the middle, got tripped up, but he's still running, still going, got hit by number 80 there, but that hit initially, the ball just came loose, and it's on the ground, open gain. Great job by our camera guys. Gentlemen, you do it every play. Great job.
1st and 10 for Torrance now from their own 15-yard line. They fake it to Carl Holm. They go out in the flat, and let's see, it finally falls incomplete. Randy Tucker with good defensive coverage there.
I thought he had it, actually. But Randy Tucker, again, on the play. As the defense, here we see it now. Dewan fakes a handoff to Holmes. He's a big guy. He's a big boy as he throws that ball.
Yeah.
He had it.
Actually,
Randy
looks
Tucker.
like he had it, and
Yeah.
Randy Tucker got his hand in there and knocked
Good
it
play.
away.
Good play,
We've
Randy.
got 7:55 left in the first half. 2nd down and 10 now for Torrance, leading by a score of 6-0. This time they pitch it back to Carl Holmes, and Carl Holmes is going to be brought down after a hit by Toch Azay.
Great hit.
Good defensive coverage by the Cougars. And as we roll down toward the 7.5-minute mark, fans, let me remind you, if you haven't already ordered your pizza, now's the time to order your pizza so you can sit back and enjoy halftime. You'll see here on the replay that Robbie Hughes comes up, forces him inside, and, of course, with the finish for the Cougars, as we said before, was Taki Zay. 3rd down and 11 now for Torrance as they operate this time out of the shotgun. Reese, the fullback, in the block for Dewan, the quarterback. Staying in the block also is Home. Dewan rolls backward. He throws, and it's incomplete. It's going to bring up a punting situation. That was Sidney Lemieux on the pressure for the Cougars.
Sidney Lemieux really had a great jump on that ball and was in there. He was almost in there before the ball was, as you'll see it here. Watch this now. You'll see, it looks like it's going to be a screen pass, but watch. As Holmes goes out to, you'll see it, but no, he's going to go to the left. Number 44 gets hung up, and who's in there but Sidney Lemieux? Actually, great pursuit.
There's a punt. Cougars don't make a good play on the punt, so it's going to roll. They're still going to get it in good field position. Actually, if they had stepped up into that was Nathaniel Harrison, the fourth, who had an opportunity to step up into that punt and maybe get some additional yardage. But you can't complain when you get the ball at the 45-yard line.
Sure can't. Good field position. Again, the defense, another great series for them. Torrance just can't seem to get straight after that great run by Holmes. But, again, the defense has been playing great all year long.
The Cougars continue to claw at them. As of yet, though, they haven't drawn anything. They've got a chance to, once again, it's 1st and 10 from their own 45-yard line. Torrance shows blitz. The Cougars pick it up. Jamison gets back to the line of scrimmage, maybe one on the play.
Well, number 66 for Torrance. He also plays in the full house backfield. That's Milo Casillas.
Torrance now, Cougars going rather with a no-huddle offense. Gutierrez in the backfield along with Jamison. Now Gutierrez steps into the left slot. Here's the pitch back to Jamison. He's got some blocking. He's trying to get around the corner. As he gets around, he picks up maybe 3 on the play. It's going to make it a second down. Should be 3rd down and 5 now for the Cougars.
Jason Zaharek, number 11, the tight end, was leading the blockers for Jamison. Jamison looked like he was going to cut inside and then went outside to pick up about 3 on the play, and will make it 3rd down.
They mark it right at the midfield stripe. They show it on the scoreboard as 3rd and 5, so that's how we'll tell you. 3rd down and 5 for the Cougars with 6:03 left. Herb Shedd on the quarterback. Now we've got movement by the Cougar offensive line. That's number 55, Raudell Maymont, who moved on the play.
A little over anxious, Raudell.
Referee signals that it's against the Cougars, so it'll back them up to their original line of scrimmage, and now it's going to be a 3rd down and 10 for the Cougars. See Jason Zahorik going on the field for the Cougars now. I believe he's going to go out at the right end.
Nathaniel Harrison, the 4th, wide to the left.
Mike, these are the 2 injured players. The fullback.
And Zahorik, tough hit put on there. However, the Cougars keep the ball on the ground. Herb Shedd takes a big hit. That, of course, is Satiana Latu. You see there the quarterback who's out injured on the left with the headset, and Malachi Uwe, number 8 there, is the other injured player. It's a punting situation for the Cougars. Punt is up and away. That's Holmes back to receive, and Holmes makes the reception. Steps forward a couple of steps. However, he had called for the fair catch. That was Gabriel Torres on the punt for the Cougars. We've got 5:21 left in the first half, fans. It'll be 1st and 10 for the Torrance Totters, who are showing themselves then to be every bit the 4-1 team, worthy of being in 2nd place in the Bay League right now.
Absolutely. They've been very, very good defensively especially. They've just been stymieing the Cougars. But again, the Cougars need to pick up the defense here to keep them at least away from the end zone, keep this game at 6-0.
Terry Dewan, the quarterback. Terry Dewan hands off to Carl Holmes, the running back. Holmes now is being gang tackled. And look how many guys, he's still not down.
Sidney Lemieux, number 31, made the first hit. And then a host of Cougars. And we've got a shaken up player for Torrance. Looks like number 51, that's Anthony Espinoza.
Slow to get up, but now he's on his way. We're going to see the replay here, fans. And the key is to watch this handoff to Holmes. And to watch how many guys there, he bangs into one. And you see the guy continuing to drive forward. And how many are there? There's at least 6 Cougars here. Now there are about 8 or 9. Referees had blown the whistle early.
You sure he wasn't playing for the Rams at one point?
Early score that we have another Bay League action as they keep the ball on the ground to Holmes once again. Inglewood leading West by a score of 26-6, and that, of course, would still be in the first half as well, if not at halftime, probably at halftime.
Well, big game. Inglewood needs, after last week's loss, they want to get back on the winning track. They're 4-1, 1-1 in the Bay League. West Torrance 2-3. They're a tough team, West, and though they haven't won a game, 0-2 in the Bay League, looks like Inglewood is marching along with a 26-6 lead.
And, of course, with Derek Norris from Losinger, who's made a big difference in the Inglewood attack this year. You talk about having a solid ground game. It's a 1st and 10 now for Torrance from the 30-yard line. Inside handoff to Reese. Got a flag on the play. Reese picked up about 5 on the carry. But let's see what the flag is and who this goes against, because this may be big.
Rodell Maymon was in on the tackle.
Still no signal from the official. Now he comes to this side, indicates that it's holding against Torrance, and that's going to back him up 10 yards from the line of scrimmage. So the Cougars catch a break on the officiating there as the play goes back now to the 21-yard line. It'll be 2nd down and 20, or 1st and 20, I believe, for Torrance. Quarterback keeper. This time he pitches back to number 3. Number 3 has some room around the left side. You got to bring him down soon, guys, and they finally do. That's Anthony Jones on the carry. Finally brought down by number 55, along with several other Cougars. Rodell Maymont.
We're going to have this. We'll see it again. Watch this. It's an option play all the way as a fake to handoff to 44, and then this pitch to number 3. And 2 players, unfortunately, Keith G missed him, and then Rodell Maymont coming from his defensive tackle position to make the stop.
Makes it a 2nd down and 6 now for Torrance. Once again, they're keeping, this time the quarterback keeps it himself. He showed the option, brought it down, kept it himself, and he picks up the 1st down as he gets out near the midfield stripe at about the 46-yard line.
Now you're going to see this coming up as the quarterback, Dewan, this time he goes right. And it's an option play again. It's the exact same setup as and this time he keeps it. He fakes the handoff to Paul Reese, comes to the right, was going to fake, was actually going to give the handoff again to number 3, but then runs up the field and then gets tripped up.
1st and 10, Torrance on the move once again from their own 47-yard line. Right now they're working number 3 over pretty good, and he's going to be brought down after a very short gain on the play. Let's get you that guy's name. That's Anthony Jones. He's 5'9", 175 pounds. He's a junior.
Alfie Fanua had his arms around him and put him up for the rest of the Cougar humanity to come and tackle him.
We've got 2:04 left in the first half, fans. Torrance leading by a score of 6-0. They're on the march once again, having started at their own 20-yard line. They're out now at the 47. Quarterback's under center. Fakes the handoff. He looks like an option again. He pulls it down. Once again, he's going to be taken down hard. I think on the next play, he's going to make the decision to pitch it, Dan.
I think so. Gabriel Torres, 5'10", going up against 6'5", and he put a heck of a stick on the quarterback. Dewan is, again, like I say, 6'5". He's a senior. Skinny kind of guy, but Torres put a great hit on him.
But he's a good-looking quarterback. Actually, one of the best that we've seen all season. Makes good decisions on the field. Has a very good arm, as we've seen, and of course has a back in the backfield named Carl Holmes that when all else fails, he can hand it off to him. This time they give it to the up back, and that's Reese, and Reese is going to be stopped for almost no gain on the play, but we got a flag that comes in from the back, and let's see what this flag is.
Now think about that, just looking at the defense for the Cougars. They've got 3 and 4 guys around whoever's carrying the ball, and that's good.
Official indicates that it's a face mask penalty against the Cougars. We'll have to see if it's of the serious variety, and fans, it certainly appears to be. They're marking off 15 yards against the Cougars. That's going to put the ball at the Cougar 30-yard line. We've got exactly 1 minute left in the first half, fans, with Torrance leading by a score of 6-0. It's going to be 1st and 10 for them.
It's a fast first half. Fast.
And if I'm not mistaken, they should also have 2 timeouts left. So they've got the ball, the clock, and the scoreboard working in their favor right now.
Feels like this game just started.
Well, let's see what they come up with. They've got a backfield that includes Reese, that includes Carl Holmes, and of course Terry DeWine, the quarterback, along with the third back, and they pitch it back to Holmes. Holmes is looking to pass. Here's a pass back in the flat, a little razzle-dazzle. It didn't fool the Cougars, though. I tell you got to give Jonathan Rodriguez credit, because he read it all the way, Dan, and he busted that one.
He sure did, and it's a good thing that he did, because out all alone, right down about the 5-yard line, was a Torrance Tartar. Here we see it. Holmes passes back to the quarterback, but a great read. Really a great read, because if he would let that one go, that would have been a touchdown.
And I think the coach is probably going to say to Ramon Cardenas that he failed to give the key block that they needed in order to make that play work.
Great play by the defense. It really could have been a touchdown right there, because the end was wide open for Torrance at about the 5-yard line.
Of course, the Torrance coach is Rock Hollis.
Yep.
And these guys, Dan, as I told you before, and they've worn the T-shirts all season that says "One Team, One Heartbeat." And they've certainly played well as a unit, and that speaks well for what they're trying to do here, because Torrance has struggled over the last year. In fact, they were 5-6 overall, 4-3 in league play, but they didn't make the playoffs.
Well, they've had a great season so far this year, but again, the Cougars also this season dedicated to John and Ed Togia and Gustavo Orozco.
Second down play for Torrance. Here's a pass out in the flat, nearly intercepted by Randy Tucker. We're down to 7 seconds left in the half. It's going to be a third down play for Torrance now, 3rd and 20.
Pass was intended for Chris Mullen.
I think on this, Dan, they're probably going to take one pop in the end zone, clearly out of any sort of field goal range. May as well go for the whole ball of wax right here, and I don't think you can pick that up on the ground.
No, it's going to be a shotgun setup, so you're right.
DeWine lined up even with his running backs. Now he drops back to pass. He looks deep. He goes deep. It's intercepted. And here's a chance here. Here's the pitch back. Robbie Hughes has the ball. Robbie Hughes turns up. Robbie Hughes looking for an angle. He tries to pitch, but it goes out of bounds. But the Cougars were certainly thinking. And that was Herb Shedd who made the pitch to Robbie Hughes. So the Cougars thinking all the way. They end the half having come up empty on the scoreboard, trailing by a score of 6-0 to a Torrance Tartar team, Dan, that's every bit as good as advertised.
They surely are. Torrance came in. They're both tied with the same records. One loss in the Bay League for Torrance, but they've played a real tough game. But Hawthorne's defense has really been answering the call tonight, and the second half should be our dandy.
Fans, we're going to let you enjoy your halftime pizza, and we'll be back at the top of the second half right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Welcome back to the second half, fans. We see the captains are out at midfield, of course, to determine the receiving team for the second half. If I'm not mistaken, that's going to be the Cougars because they kicked off to open the contest. By way of reminder, the score is 6-0 in favor of Torrance. Gives us an opportunity here to also mention that the sophomore team won yesterday over Torrance, the sophomore team, by a score of 19-7. Congratulations to those guys, and of course Dan Robbins and his coaching staff here on sophomore and varsity teams, as well as the freshman team, are building young Cougars to carry on the fine Cougar football tradition that has been going on here for well over a decade. Because as we've told you before, this team and the program here at Hawthorne High School, in a recent survey by the LA Times, was ranked as one of the top 10 teams in Southern California football over the past 10 years. And the Cougar tradition certainly appears that it's going to continue based on the kind of performances we've seen this year from both the sophomore and the varsity team. So it's a pleasure to give those guys a shout out and to give them a congratulations, and they're passing along a whole lot of other notes to us here that they want to be sure that we mention. Of course, we here in the booth, Dan and I, hope that they watch us on the telecast as much as they want us to watch them. So here's the kickoff coming up to start the second half. And we're underway. Kickoff sails to the left side. That's number 4, Robbie Hughes, who picks it up. Robbie turns upfield. He's looking for a block. He's got one. Breaks through containment and finally is brought down at the 30-yard line. So from their own 30, the Cougars will open the second half. 1st and 10. Gives us an opportunity to mention that Keith Green on the sophomore team yesterday in their 19-7 victory over Torrance had 17 carries for 130 yards and a touchdown. Jermaine Chapman had 2 touchdown catches. The sophomores are 3-0 in the league, in the Bay League, and 4-2 overall, Dan. And as I was saying, that bodes very well for future Cougar efforts. This is Marcel Jameson, who's got some running room. This may be a 70-yard touchdown run. They won't catch him. Touchdown!
Great run.
That's the way you open the second half, Dan.
Certainly is, and it was just a matter of time as Jameson got some great blocking. Just a tremendous run as he ran to his left. We'll see it here. Watch this now. Looks like a blitz. A run to Jameson. Jameson then goes inside and then cuts back outside. Great move. And he just outruns everybody. That's Marcel Jameson.
Cougar extra point attempt coming up, and considering that that's the Cougars' highlight thus far of the evening, that's worth seeing again after this extra point attempt. Looks like they're going to go for 2. They turn it up, and they don't make it. So that leaves them tied at 6-6. We've got 11:23 left in the third quarter. Took them 37 seconds, Dan. 37 seconds to get on the board.
Marcel Jameson again, great, terrific run. And the offensive line, Omar Souf, and a host of characters, great blocking up in the front lines. And again, Jameson, watch it. You'll see it here again. It's worth seeing. Goes inside as they block. Maymont blocks them all to the right. Jameson cuts back to the left. That's a foot race. And they're not going to catch him.
As you saw on the play, Jameson faked left. In fact, he was hit by one of the Tartar defenders, bounced off of him, came back to the left, and he was gone. 6 points, just like that. Gets the Cougar crowd back into the game. And we've got ourselves a whole new game with a half to play, fans. It's 6-6. Cougars went for the deuce there. Came up short. Another surprising call. We've got some stats that have been passed along to us by our colleague Alex Manella, and as soon as this play is over, we'll get to some of those. And it's going to stay in bounds. They were waiting for it to go out of bounds. the return man for Torrance. That was number 21 on the hit for the Cougars, and of course, that's Jawan Atkins. The Torrance return man thought it was going to drop out of bounds, but the ball went dead on him, and he had to pick it up and go with it.
Great hit by Atkins. That somehow I heard a bell ring after as he was going.
In the first half, Hawthorne had 103 yards rushing, along with 46 yards passing on 2 completions. Torrance had 104 yards rushing and 3 of 9 passing for 13 yards. Once again, they keep it on the ground, and this time they're going to be stopped for a very short gain. That was Paul Reese with the carry. On the stop for the Cougars was Herb Shedd.
Herb Shedd playing both ways. Comes in, makes the hit on number 44, Paul Reese. 6 feet, 200, that's Reese. He's another wide body.
And while the Cougars are on defense, gives us an opportunity to tell you that Alex Lawndale led the Cougars with 5 tackles, along with a host of other Cougars who had 2 tackles apiece. This is Terry Dewan once again, the quarterback. Dewan pitches back to number 3, comes around the left side, has some running room, is going to be brought down from behind. Anthony Jones in on the stop for the Cougars was Afe Fanua.
Well, you know, Herb Shedd again came up, and I looked like he was going to get him, and then watch, you'll see it here. Herb Shedd just missed him. And you'll watch him come back. There's Herb Shedd, number 3. He's all over the field.
And Afe Fanua had a big paw on that ball, Dan.
He sure did.
1st and 10 for Torrance now. Ball's out at the 26-yard line. They keep it on the ground. This is Holmes with the carry. Holmes is slowed up at the line of scrimmage and brought down after a very short gain. Well, it looks like that may have been Anthony Jones. Thought it was Carl Holmes for a second there.
Well, they're both about the same size. Here we go. You'll see Jones, just its power running going up the right side. Herb Shedd again, number 3.
2nd down and 6 now for Torrance. We've got 9 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. Cougars have already gotten on the board on their first play from scrimmage in the 3rd quarter. 70-yard touchdown run by, excuse me, slips my mind right now, Marcel Jameson, and of course I knew that. Good defensive play by the Cougars is going to make it a 3rd and long now for Torrance.
You'll see the last play again, the handoff to number 3, Jones. Tripped up on the play. Herb Shedd, that actually was the previous play.
And let's see if Holmes is even on the field right now. Right now, Carl Holmes is not even on the field, who's their leading rusher. They put Paul Reese in at a tight end slot. They operate out of the shotgun. Rodell Maymont given pursuit. They try to hit Reese, and it comes up incomplete. It's going to make it a 4th down now for Torrance. Cougars get another opportunity here on the punt. Dropping back to receive for him is Nathaniel Harrison, the 4th, on the near side. And over on the far side is going to be Randy Tucker.
That was a man-to-man coverage by the Cougars, and it required the quarterback to really get that ball in there and just couldn't.
Terry DeWine gets the punt away. It goes to Nathaniel Harrison, the 4th. He's got good blocking. He's got some running room down the left sideline here. He's going to have one man to beat, and that's the quarterback. He cuts it back inside. Touchdown run for Nathaniel Harrison, the 4th. A 65-yard touchdown run, punt return for Nathaniel Harrison, the 4th. And just like that, on their 2 possessions of the second half, the Cougars have scored, Dan.
Absolutely, and I'll tell you, 2 players on that play, Keith Agee, number 16, and Sidney Lemieux, threw great blocks that allowed that run to take place. Agee was the first block further up the field, and then finally pulled off Sidney Lemieux, number 31. took his man to the outside, and it was just a tremendous punt return by Nathaniel Harrison IV.
And now the Cougars are forced to take a timeout here to set their extra point play to get their extra point play together. But nonetheless, the Cougars have struck quick, Dan, here in the second half with 2 scores, basically on 3 touches of the football.
And that's good. After the offense was sputtering in the first half, the second half here, just like lightning, they scored 2 quick touchdowns on 2 very quick plays.
Here we see the punt by the quarterback Derek Dewan. Excellent camera coverage there, the replay. There's Nathaniel Harrison, the 4th with the reception.
Ooh.
Picks it up at about his 27-yard line. You saw the great block there. Another block by Robbie Hughes. That opens up the sideline, and as you can see, there's no white shirts in front of him. You'll see Dewan, who punted the ball, step in front of him there. Another great block by a Cougar special teams player, and there he goes.
Sidney Lemieux, 5'9", 205, blocked the punter, who happens to be Terry Dewan at 6'5", 195, and just rode him out.
There you see Marcel Jamison taking it in for the 2-point conversion. That makes it 14-6 in favor of the Cougars now.
I think the old momentum might be changing.
Looks like it's swinging the other way. And I shorted Nathaniel Harrison the 4th about 8 yards on that. Instead of being 65 yards, that actually was a 73-yard touchdown return as he took that ball from about his own 27-yard line and, of course, took it all the way in for the touchdown.
That's some great execution. Keith G, again, tremendous block to open that up to allow Harrison to be able to go to the outside, and some great camera work, as you saw on the replay, as he went up the sidelines, and then finally Sidney Lemieux just took out Dewan, and great run back.
Gabriel Torres preparing the kickoff for the Cougars. There you see Coach Dan Robbins on your team. I mean, this guy's a bundle of energy, Dan. I mean, he never takes a break during the game. I mean, he's constant chatter, constant talking, always on top of the situation.
He moves around just as much as the players do, I think.
A spinner by Torres. That's Carl Holmes, who we didn't see in the last offensive set with the return, and Holmes brings it out near the 30-yard line, where it'll be 1st down and 10 for the Totters. In on the stop was Gabriel Torres himself, the kicker rather.
It's pretty darn good. The kicker down there as one of the first men, as a host of Cougars. When Holmes gets the ball, you know there's going to be a crowd around him.
So this is Torrance's second offensive set of the second half. They keep the ball on the ground this time. Carl Holmes is in there. Holmes picks up about 2 on the play. In on the stop was David Salunga for the Cougars.
Holmes looks like he's limping. Might be a hip on the right side, his right hip. We'll have to watch that. He also might be just a bit tired.
2nd down and 6 for Torrance. We've got 7 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Hawthorne leading by a score of 14-6. Once again, to keep it on the ground with Carl Holmes. Holmes is stopped after a gain of maybe 1 on the play. Ketty in on the stop. Ketty Tafua. And now it looks like we may have an injured Cougar on the field. That's number 33, David Salunga. Also, it looks like Carl Holmes is injured. I mean, he's moving very slowly, and it looks like he's holding his hamstrings, Dan. Not sure whether it's a cramp or even a pull muscle there.
Well, that's certainly not going to stand Torrance in good shape, because he has been their running game. Looks like a hamstring. He had a hip. His hip was hurting him on the right side, and that does look like a hamstring, because when you pull your hamstring, you can't bend that leg. So that won't be good for Torrance.
Yeah, with the Fred Sanford strut, you can tell that something is definitely wrong there.
Boy, I tell you, you come up with them all the time.
So it's a 3rd down and 4 now for Torrance. They come with a full backfield. Here's the option play. It's a poor option. It's down on the ground. The Cougars get there real quickly. Although the ball was loose, Torrance did recover, but it forces them into a punting situation.
Keitha G.
Go ahead, Dan.
Keitha G was one of those Cougar defensive players that's kind of snuffed this out. Again, the defense rising to the occasion.
Back to receive for the Cougars, number 17, Nathaniel Harrison the 4th, number 8, Randy Tucker. My money says that I think this time they'll kick it away from Nathaniel Harrison the 4th. Here's a punt. Well, no, it looks like they go back to his side again. He's looking for that block. He finds a block. There's the flag. It's going to be a clip against the Cougars. They're going to catch number 16, Keitha G., who laid the beautiful block the last time. They're going to catch him for a clip on that play.
That is tough.
Now, a tough break for him. You see the Cougar crowd there, though, getting into this one. They're feeling real good about the way things are going in the second half so far for their team. The band's up and pumped, the cheer girls are up and pumped, and the crowd is getting into it as well. Easy play to call. We knew it was going to be clip against the Cougars, and that's precisely what the call is. That's going to back them up to their own 15-yard line, where it's going to be 1st and 10 with 5:32 left in the 3rd quarter. Cougars leading by a score of 14-6. Here's a handoff to Marcel Jamison. He comes around the right side, picks up about 2 on the carry. Makes it a 2nd down and 8 coming up for the Cougars.
Following behind Luis Camaraza, number 51, and number 62, David Benales. Watch them. I think they're going to be running the ball here and take some of that time off the clock.
Jason Sahoric goes out on the field for the Cougars. He, of course, is a 6'2", 195-pound tight end. And that's where he lines up on the left side of the line of scrimmage. They hand it off to Jamison once again. He's slowed up. Now he turns upfield. He has some running room, picks up the 1st down as he gets out to the 30, and now we've got a flag on the play. Looks like it may be a face mask. And that may go against Torrance. We're going to see on the replay here, there's Jamison. As he hits the hold, then he bounces outside. Once the hold closes, he's got some running room. We'll see if we can see the face mask. And we don't quite see it. Still haven't seen the official indication from the referee, but instead it goes against the Cougars.
Interesting call. Let's see what holding.
So holding against the Cougars.
That's why he's down officiating. And
It's going to make it a 2nd down and 5 now. From the 20-yard line, Shedd drops back to pass. Shedd rolling left. Shedd steps up. Shedd's got some running room now. He sidesteps Carl Holmes and picks up a 1st down. Excellent juke move by Herb Shedd there. Alex Kahn finally brought him down, but he put a move on Carl Holmes.
that's Herb Shedd. He's a tremendous athletic ability for this young man as he just juked. We'll see it again. Watch it. He wants to go left. Nope. He's going to go to his right. And it's just, this is athleticism all the way as Herb Shedd. He missed it was a big hit there by Holmes, or it was going to hit him. Great play by Herb Shedd.
1st and 10, they keep it on the ground. Once again, Milton Gutierrez, that's his 2nd fumble of the game. Carl Holmes has it. Carl Holmes is rumbling. Carl Holmes is going to go in untouched for a touchdown. And I think that's probably the last time you'll see Milton Gutierrez carry the ball tonight, Dan.
Well,
unfortunately for the young man, he's had 2 critical fumbles, and this one here, Torrance turns into a score to draw within 2 at 14-12.
Yeah, I think that ball might have been stripped. He's holding his left wrist, so he may have been hit on that play, but Holmes looked like he had a hamstring and was going to have some problems there earlier, but boy, he just rumbled into the end zone when he picked that ball up.
Well, if I was him, I'd be holding my ears because I wouldn't want to hear what Coach Robbins is going to have to say. Let's see if Torrance appears that they're going to go for 2 points on this play. They're trailing by 2, wanting to draw even. There's a play. Anthony Jones has it. I think he's going to come up short, however, and he does. So the Cougar defense stops them on their 2-point attempt, and that keeps the score at 14-12. Here you're going to you see on the replay the handoff to Gutierrez, number 12. Gutierrez there still digging, and it's just the nature of the hit that the ball comes loose. Holmes picks it up. Holmes has running room. You see him starting to rumble. A couple of Cougars try to get a hand on him unsuccessfully, and there he goes. That's all 205 pounds rumbling down the side. You can feel the ground shaking up here, Dan.
I didn't know if it was if we had a 4.5 on the Richter scale, but the hamstring didn't seem to be too sore on that run.
Or he's a quick healer one. He got well in a hurry there. And just like that, he puts the Totters back in the middle of this game at 14-12, and they're now kicking off to the Cougars.
You know, you got to say one thing on that play on the fumble. It was actually a great hit. 2 good hits, high and low, put on Gutierrez, and you know, it's a tough deal as you're trying to run and motor, getting more yardage, and in this case, the ball came loose. But offense will pick up again. Let's get going.
But turnovers like that, Dan, they take the bottom right out of your momentum, and all of a sudden now you're back on your heels once again, knowing that you need to score. This is going to be Robbie Hughes with the ball. Hughes has a hole. Hughes hits it. Hughes still on his feet. Hughes going around the left side. He's going to have one man to beat. He cuts back across the field. This could go all the way. Robbie Hughes. This is going to be a touchdown. Robbie Hughes, folks, with a huge touchdown run. We'll have to see how much they officially call it for. Hughes is down. I think that's a muscle cramp in his legs. When we see on the replay, we'll mark it out, but that was a good 80 yards or so, Dan, on the kickoff return for Robbie Hughes, and that makes the score 20-12. Yeah, that was 85 yards. He took it at his 15. As it
and he goes to his right. Watch this. Eluding tacklers. He eluded Bill Marriott. Goes wide left. 33 isn't going to touch him. And cuts back to the middle. And he has got student body right. The only guy that could really get him is number 78.
And he doesn't stand much of a chance when you look at a big lineman like that chasing a small guy like Robbie Hughes. Here's an extra point attempt coming up. It's a high snap. The kick is up, and it's good. That's Gabriel Torres. So the Cougars giveth, and the Cougars taketh. And right now they lead by a score of 21-9 with 3:32 left in the third, fans. And this has been nothing but special teams play all night, particularly for the Cougars. Kind of reminds me of what we saw in the Atlanta Falcons last night that scored their 2 touchdowns, both on special teams play.
Well, the thing that I've noticed, and I think you have too, as we've seen it as the game has gone by, Torrance certainly has a great ball club. There's no question about it. But Hawthorne just seems to be about 2 steps faster, and we've seen it on 3 very quick plays, especially on the 2 special teams plays. Once they elude a tackler, man, they're just off. They're off to the races.
So the Cougars back on top by a comfortable margin now of 21-12, but this Torrance team has shown that there's no quitting them. And I guess one good thing, folks, is that we've still got 15 and a half minutes of football left, and we already have 33 points up on the board.
I was going to say, that first half went so quickly.
First half ended with a score of 6-0 in favor of Torrance, and the Cougars have struck here for 21 points in the third quarter. Woo. There's a kickoff handled by Carl Holmes, falls out of his hands into the end zone. It's a touchback. Torrance will get the ball at their own 20-yard line, and all of a sudden, Dan, momentum has come back the Cougars' way.
Boy, I tell you, we heard actually from the truck that it looked like momentum was going to shift to Torrance, and in a way it was going to, but boy, that kickoff return, it just seems like the field is now dipped for Hawthorne as that touchdown really electrified the crowd. Gets the defense back into it. Let's see if they can stop it.
1st and 10 for Torrance. Terry DeWine, number 7, their quarterback, brings them up to the line of scrimmage. He gives it off in the backfield to Anthony Jones, it appears. Jones picks up maybe 2 on the carry. Actually, Carl Holmes looks like. No problem. From our vantage point, it's a little difficult to see. We know it's 2 big guys, either number 3 or number 4. That time it was Carl Holmes who's back in. Carl Holmes, of course, just scored the touchdown for Torrance that put their 12-point up on the board. Of course, he plays offense and defense. Once again, they hand it off to Holmes. Holmes fumbles. Fumble on the play. Looks like the Cougars. No, I think Torrance got this one back. Cougars had a pretty good shot at that one, but it slipped right through their hands. That was Ramon Cardenas with the recovery for Torrance. Alert play by the offensive linemen, guys who we don't give nearly enough credit or mentions.
They're in the trenches minute after minute.
3rd down and 5 now. You'll have a chance here to see the fumble as the play gets underway. You see Holmes sidestepping, and there the ball comes loose, and you got a couple of Cougars there. Looks like number 45, Buck McCorvey. Let's come back to live action here, and in live action, that's Holmes with the carry, but the Cougars bring him down way short of the 1st down, so it's going to be another punting situation. But as I was about to say, Dan, it looked like McCorvey, instead of what they're taught to do and drilled to do, and that's to fall on that ball, attempted to pick it up, and that was how he let it get away from him. If you're falling on it, you've got a fumble recovery.
Well, again, the defense stands up to the test. They've been playing great all night long.
Nathaniel Harrison, the 4th, now goes to the far side. I think what they're suspecting is that they might kick away from him.
I think so.
And instead they kick it to his side again, but this one is going to sail out of bounds. Let's see where the officials mark it at. It's going to be up near the midfield stripe. He's still walking. He's at midfield. He's right at midfield. So the Cougars get the ball in excellent field position at the midfield stripe, leading by a score of 21-12 with 1:21 left here in the 3rd quarter. While we have a change of possession, gives us an opportunity to tell you that Channel 60's next broadcast will be brought to you from Lusinger High School next week as the Lusinger Olympians take on West Torrance. In fact, for the next 3 weeks, fans, we're going to be covering Lusinger games, and we'll be back here at the end of the season for Torrance and Lusinger. Marcel Jameson with the carry picks up a couple of yards. But I know you'll continue to join us as you want to see the best in South Bay football brought to you right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60.
Alfie Fanua coming in the ball game for Marcel Jameson. We're going to, and there's a pretty good-sized gentleman right there, number
That's
64.
Corey Thetford for the Cougars?
No, I think that's Brandon Music.
Brandon Music, okay. They keep it on the ground, giving it to number 44. I believe that's Alfie Fanua, and that is. And he's brought down by Alex Kahn, but not until after he had picked up about 4 yards on the play. It's going to make it a 3rd and 6 for the Cougars now. They're in Tartar territory at the 46-yard line of Torrance.
Katie is coming in, and coming out will be number 44. That's Alfie Fanua.
So Marcel Jameson's in the backfield, along with Katie Tafua. Excellent rush there by The Cougars, by Torrance. They don't get to him. Puts it up in the air. Let's see. And it's a completion. Look, couldn't see who came down with it, but now the official signal is that it's a Cougar completion. Nathaniel Harrison, the fourth, comes up limping just a little bit. Now he raises his legs. That was Chris Story. There was back providing defensive coverage, but a great catch by Nathaniel Harrison, the fourth, and Dan, he's injured as he heads toward the sideline bench. Looks like he's trying to walk it off, and that was the end of the third quarter. Gives us an opportunity to perhaps to see that play on replay as the teams change ends of the field to begin the fourth and final quarter of tonight's contest.
He may have landed on his ankle. It looks like a sprained ankle as he came down on it, and because he jumped up to get that ball. Tremendous catch as Shed put it up there. Almost a Hail Mary it looked like, but there were plenty of people around. But Nathaniel Harrison, the fourth, that's his second big play tonight. But it may have come down on that ankle and may have sprained it. Hopefully that's all it is, and it's not broken.
So, we're moving into the fourth quarter, Fan. Here you're going to see on the replay, as Herb Shedd drops back to pass, eludes two of the defensive pursuers, tells Harrison to go deep, puts it up in the air. Great throw by Shedd. I think we'll see the tail end of this, and we do. Nathaniel Harrison goes way up in the air to come down with it at about the 3-yard line. Let's see. Okay, her pass attempt there by Shedd in the right corner falls incomplete, make it a 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line. Cougars knocking on the door once again, Dan, and with us just starting the fourth quarter, but they lead by 9. This is an opportunity to really put this team away now.
Absolutely. It would actually be great to get a score, take some time off the clock.
This time they fake the handoff. They give it to Milton Gutierrez, and that's a nice vote of confidence then by Coach Robbins. I had, and I'd be the first to admit, predicted that he may not handle any more tonight because of the 2 fumbles, but a good coach does that. He goes back to the young man. He says, I believe in you. I know you can get it done. He gives him the ball, and Milton Gutierrez puts 6 points on the board for the Cougars.
Great run by Milton Gutierrez as he goes to his right. And it was some great blocking again by the offensive line. It's nice to see that young man put the ball in the end zone. And this game now is starting to move along.
See Gabriel Torres' extra point attempt coming up. Here's a kick. It's up, and it's good.
God, he's kicking good. Well, very well tonight.
So that makes a score of 28-12 in favor of the Cougars with 11:51 left in the contest. Here you see the carry once again by Milton Gutierrez. Good-looking carry, followed his blocking beautifully, and they took him right on into the end zone for a 4-yard touchdown run.
Rodell Maymont, number 55, and number 73, Jorge Camacho, leading the blocking for Jason Gutierrez. Milton Gutierrez, I'm sorry, Jason. It might be time for me to go to bed.
And there you hear the band striking up the Cougar fight song once again. And right now, they're real excited. I'm sure by now, Dan, your halftime Phantom interview with the young man who was complaining about wanting his money back, although he didn't pay to get in. I'm sure he's quite pleased now as the Cougars have put 28 second-half points up on the board.
I think you may be right, sir.
On the near side here to receive is Carl Holmes, and looks like it's going to sail out of bounds, so that'll give Torrance the ball at the 35-yard line while they were going offense 1st and 10, 11:51 left in the fourth quarter, and they trail right now by 16 points.
You know, this contest tonight by both teams, again, very important game for the Bay League. But the thing that we've noticed as time has gone by, very, very good sportsmanship on both sides, players helping each other up. Again, these young men, it's playing all out, but again, it's a game, it's a sport, and it's good to see.
There was an offside penalty against the Cougars on that play. However, Torrance declines the penalty and takes the ball at their own 35-yard line. 1st and 10. Carl Holmes and Paul Reese in the backfield, along with Terry Dewan, the quarterback, out of the shotgun formation. Dewan drops back. He's looking. He rolls right. He finally puts it up in the air. And there's going to be flags on the play. I think this is going to go against the Cougar defenders.
Well, he was going for Brandon Vale on that play, and I think we're going to have an interference call. You'll see it again here. Bootleg. The snaps have been high, but Dewan rolls to his right, and he's being pursued by number 31, Sidney Lemieux. And he throws the ball up, but it looks like we had a face guard on that play and an interference call, which will give the Tartars the ball at midfield.
And actually, Dan, Carl Holmes has snuck out of the backfield, and that pass was intended for Holmes. This time they come with a single back out of the shotgun formation. Holmes comes out of the backfield. There's a pass going to be incomplete. Holmes is ridden down by number 35 for the Cougars. That's Keti Tafua.
Great ball. Great play.
11:37 left in the 4th quarter, fans. Cougars leading by a score of 26-12. The crowd starting to feel it. They think they've got this one salted away. However, this Torrance team has shown itself to be very good, and quite frankly, there are only 2 touchdowns and 2 two-point conversions from having this game tied up. It's a 2nd down and 10 for them right at the midfield stripe. Once again, out of the shotgun formation. Dewan drops back to pass. He does pass. He's got a receiver over there. Hits his receiver complete. Stayed in bounds. Got a foot down in bounds. That's the 1st down. That was Chris Mullen. And that's down inside the Cougar 30, near the 20. Looks like they're going to spot it closer to the 25. However, at about the 23-yard line, it's going to be 1st and 10. And looks like Torrance now, in the interest of time, is going to go to their hurry-up offense.
You've got to be careful of delay.
And this time they're going to put Holmes in the slot. Reese is in the backfield. There's a pass to number 82. The reception is made. That's Duke Feldmeyer. So Torrance trying to pick up a quick score. My friend Dan will bring you the replay here in just a moment.
We'll see Dewan right here on the shotgun, throwing it to his left. Nice catch by number 82 for Torrance.
This time he looks right, goes across the middle, hits Carl Holmes, but Holmes drops it.
Talk easy on that play.
It's going to make it a 3rd down and 8 now for Torrance. Ball is spotted at the 21-yard line. A big 3rd down play for their offense and an equally huge 3rd down play for the Cougar defense.
Interesting, Holmes is coming out. Got to be a pass. Watch for 88 again. He seems to be the guy that they like to go long on.
You've got Reese in the backfield. Out of the shotgun, he drops back the pass, steps up, goes across the middle, hits his receiver, Chris Mullen, with a beautiful catch there. In on the stop was Randy Tucker. And boy, when we see that one on the replay, you're going to see it was a great throw and a great catch. Here you see Mullen, number 7, operating out of the shotgun. Slant pattern run by number 88, Mullen. And there he is. Great hit. Great catch, great hit there.
Good execution by Torrance. Again, the height of quarterback Terry Dewan allows him to be able to see the field very well, and he steps up and finds his receiver on a good play.
And it's a first and goal for Torrance. They're at their own 7-yard line. Let's call it the 8 officially. And now we're going to have a flag on the play. Is that too many men on the field for
I
the
think it
Cougars?
is. Looks like it is. Yep.
We're looking to see what the official's call is. Delay a game is what he's calling.
Interesting.
So that'll back him up 5 yards. It'll make it a first and goal from the 13-yard line now.
Rodell Maymont, Keith G, Sidney Lemieux.
Continuing to operate out of shotgun formation. Carl Holmes, number 4, is back in. Reese, number 44, goes in motion to the right. Here's a snap. However, flags are thrown. It's going to be a dead ball. Let's see what this call is.
Looked like there was a delay
If
on
this
that
goes
one.
against Torrance, boy, they're starting to move in the wrong direction.
I think they were supposed
Yes.
to do it on.
Still first and goal. It's a procedure penalty. Now it's going to be first and goal from the 18-yard line. They were at the 8, folks, with a first and goal, but they've had 2 consecutive dead ball penalties, a delay of game, and an illegal procedure. And they're moving in the wrong direction. We've got 10:22 left in the contest, with the Cougars leading by a score of 28-12. Torrance trying to get back in it with a quick score here. Now he's audibling at the line of scrimmage. There's a snap. Wasn't quite ready, but there's a throw, a slant pattern. He goes up for it, incomplete, but here comes a flag from the back judge. Here's a flag, boy, and this may be another interference on the Cougars, and if it is, it's going to give them first and goal from about the 2-yard line. Here we'll see on the replay, there's the throw in the flat by the quarterback, and that's Robbie Hughes there, and the flag is thrown in from the backfield, and that's going to go against the Cougars fan, and that's going to give them the ball in bullseye position. Well, actually, they're going to get it at the 10-yard line.
Somewhat of a questionable call. I think the officials thought that there was a push-off there by Robbie Hughes. But again, our crack camera crew shows us again, as they have all night long. Great job, guys.
So it's a first and goal from the 9-yard line now for Torrance. This time they hand it off to Carl Holmes. Holmes is going to be stacked up behind the line of scrimmage, drags the pile forward back to the original line of scrimmage, so it'll still be 9 to go for a touchdown. Buck McCorvey in on touchdown, and once again, Holmes is injured. This is the second time we've seen him show some pain and hurt in that leg, Dan.
Looks like a hamstring again. This is the right one. Before it was the left one. And whenever you have a hamstring or muscle pull, you're low on salt. That could be it. He's been playing both ways, as a number of players have tonight. When you play both ways, you've got to make sure that you've got enough salt intake, or you're going to start getting pulled muscles.
And judging from his own reactions, I think this time it's for real. He doesn't seem like a happy young man at all, but they're trying to stretch the muscle out, and considering the treatment that they're giving him, that's a positive indication, because we don't want to see any of these guys hurt. Here you're going to see on the replay, Holmes gets stacked up at the line of scrimmage. Good leg movement. I mean, look at this guy move his legs, constantly digging. Finally brought down by Buck McCorvey and a couple of other Cougars. Herb Shedd was also in on the play.
It's good to see Herb Shedd. I mean, again, here's another of the many that play both ways. Herb has been all over the field, was in on the stop along with Buck. As we get a close-up here, looks like Holmes will come off, and hopefully it's just needs to be stretched out and there's not a tear there. Torn hamstring not only can be very painful, but it can be a disabling injury as well.
Sure, and Holmes is going to have to come off the field for at least one play.
Yeah, but he did that last time, and he'll get
Exactly.
the ball and
And
run.
he came back and scored a touchdown.
Yeah. I mean, he went 20 yards after the 20-yard line. He was speeding. So Daniel Harrison, the fourth, is in for the Cougars. In for Atkins.
Just to recap, we've got under 10 minutes left in the contest. Score 28-12 in favor of the Cougars. It's going to be a 2nd and goal from the 9-yard line for Torrance, however.
Watch 88.
Operating out of the shotgun formation. Dewan takes it. Dewan rolls right. He's looking for his receiver. He had him. They're going to call this a fumble. No, now they signal incomplete. Now they signal incomplete. Boy, it took him a long time. You know, he could have indicated that right off the bat, Dan, and solved this problem.
Well, the official deemed that the arm was up, and he was in the motion of throwing the ball, so it was an incompletion. Here's the replay. You'll see it, the snap. And watch it here as a rollout by Dewan, and great pursuit. Sidney Lemieux there. However, it looked like he threw it, but he got hit big time by Sidney Lemieux. Big hit.
But you got to give Terry Dewan a lot of credit. I mean, he pulled off a pro move there. I mean, the young man brought his arm forward anyway to psych the official into believing that he was throwing, but it definitely looks like that ball was knocked out of his hand as his arm was back and not going forward. But I give Dewan a great deal of credit for having the gamesmanship to go through with the pass as if throw he was. 3rd down and goal. Here's his pass. This is out of the back of the end zone. It's going to be a 4th and goal, and Torrance has no option but to go for it here.
That was a close play. Herb Shedd actually hit his man, and I thought a flag was going to be called again on interference. Number 7, Gabriel Torres, was in on Dewan. He's played a great game. He's had some great kicks, but boy, on defense, he's been.
Yep.
Watch this. Now, this is the previous play when Dewan looks like he's just there, and then watch the hit. Boom.
But look what he does again.
Yep.
Brings the arm forward. And that is a pro move. Like I said, you got to give a kid a lot of credit. That was real smart. I'm just as impressed with his knowledge to carry through as I am with the defensive play by the Cougars. 4th and goal. Torrance with no choice but to go. Here's a slant pattern. Let's see. We've got an interference here, and that one's legitimate. The crowd doesn't like it, but that certainly appears to have been a legitimate call there.
Well, again, they go on a cross-in pattern, and tough play.
Guys, crank up the replay machine, and let's see if we can see this one again. Here you're going to see on the post pattern, the receiver coming across. There he goes up for it, and I think you got to call it, Dan. That's awfully close, but you almost got to call that one.
Tough call for the Cougars, unfortunately. Gives a second life.
No, it gives 3rd life, actually.
That's true.
Who said Friday the 13th was an unlucky day?
That's true.
So far, it's shown to be pretty fortunate for the Cougars. This is 1st and goal now, guys, from the 5-yard line. Sooner or later, they're going to get this thing in. Once again, out of shotgun, shovel pass to the inside to number 24, and he gets down to about the 2-yard line. That's Steve Johnson. First time we've called Johnson's name tonight. We're going to see on the replay here, as you can see, his jersey is real clean. That's why you know it's the first time we've called his name. Out of the shotgun formation, they send Reese in motion. I'm a little surprised they aren't giving the ball to him or Anthony Jones. But there's a snap, and there's a shovel pass. And he hits the line of scrimmage, bounces off, picks up maybe 2 yards on. It's going to be they give him 3. It's going to be a 2nd and goal from the 2-yard line now. This may be a quarterback keeper on this play. No, he hands it off instead. And nothing doing. The Cougar goal line defense stacks him up right there. And you got a bunch of guys that are in there. I see number 55, Rodell Maymott, that was in on that one.
One of the captains. He led that charge as well. Again, you'll see it. Watch here. Watch the point of attack. Ball snap, handoff. 31, Sidney Lemieux is there, but boom, number 55, Rodell Maymont, and a host of Cougars on the defense. They've just played an outstanding game tonight.
3rd and goal once again from the 2, and I got to tell you, fans, I'm as surprised as you are that Anthony Jones isn't in the backfield, but instead they've got a couple of new backs to go along with Reese. It's time to hand it off again. Once again, it's going to be stopped short of the goal line.
It's a loose ball.
Well, they're saying it's a loose ball, but I think they're going to call that he was down by contact on the play.
Again, a great defensive hold here by the Cougars.
It's going to be 4th down.
Sydney, was it number 35? Sorry. Here you see it again. The handoff. It's 3 straight handoffs, and bang.
Yeah. And
Just
the
a
lineman
great
on that play, Dan, number 66, as we saw in the replay, got right in the middle of the run. Obviously screwed the play up for them. We've got 7:46 left. I think we had, if I'm not mistaken, there was 10 minutes, maybe a little more, when this drive was in touchdown position for Torrance, and we've got about 2 minutes gone by, and they've 3 minutes actually. They've yet to get in the end zone.
Sorry, sir. They had, I believe, 10 plays with goal to go, and so this will be the 10th play. So, again, hats off to the defense for the Cougars. They've just been outstanding.
Well, they've got to do it one more time here, barring a penalty, of course. It's a 4th and goal from the 3-yard line.
There's a couple of Cougars.
There you are. A couple other Cougars there, except those are the human variety.
And the Cougarettes.
I was gonna tie my shoe.
So, out of the timeout, Torrance comes back on the field. They're looking for a 4th and goal to go play to work. Once again, Anthony Jones isn't in there, and of course we know that Carl Holmes, who went off injured, is not in there. This time they send number 66 out of the play. They give it to number 24 one more time. He's strung right. Does he get in? Yes! Yes, he dived for it. He dives on the far side, and they give him the touchdown. Herb Shedd, as you can see, totally unhappy with the call.
Well,
and folks are asking for the addresses of these referees here, boy. You talk about helping a team score 6. The Hawthorne crowd has become somewhat irate with the officiating in the last 5 minutes or so, Dan.
Well, there's been a couple of calls here. One of them was legitimate, the defensive interference call. This one here, again, a little questionable as to whether he was able to dive in time for the touchdown. Watch it here. You'll see man in motion. And there were a couple of missed tackles on this play. Robbie Hughes was going to stretch this thing out. You'll see him, number 4. 66 actually missed his block, but there he is. He just missed it. He had him, thought he was going to grab him, and it was close. It was real close.
Yeah.
But the Torrance, you got to give the Tartars credit. I mean, they're not giving up. They're not giving up at all, and they keep going.
Another play was right in front of the official, as number 24, Steve Johnson, reached for it. And in fact, we hadn't seen Steve Johnson until that series of downs.
No, and he looks pretty impressive. He really does.
He was indeed, but you got to get a Cougar defense a lot of credit.
Absolutely.
They were on the field a long time, and they repel this Torrance team on several occasions, and even on that particular occasion, they felt that they had done it one more time. Score, of course, right now, fans, stands at 28-18 with 7:40 left in the contest. The conversion attempt coming up by the Torrance Tartars. And I would suspect that they're going to go for the 2 here. They're trailing by 10.
Yeah, they'd need to.
This would make it an 8-point ball game for them, and an opportunity to get in a position to tie.
It's an important play.
Very important play for Torrance. In fact, this is the same play they ran before. 66 goes in motion. They fake it. Here's a throw in the flat. Touchdown. They fool the Cougars on that one, flat out. Beautiful fake. Well, they showed them the same play, and that's what I was saying. They sent 66, who screwed up 2 plays previously. They sent him in motion the other way. The Cougars thought sure it was going to be that. That was Duke Feldemeyer with the reception for Torrance. And fans, all of a sudden, you've got yourself a game. Let's go to the replay and see that again.
Great fake. Watch this. Pitch.
There you see the pitch to the right. Cougars bite, and they bite bad. And there's Duke Feldemeyer in the end zone all alone. The closest man to him was number 35 for the Cougars, and that was Kete Tuafu, but he wasn't nearly close enough. And with 7:40 left, 28-20 in favor of the Cougars. Fans, you've got yourself a ball game. Don't go anywhere on this one.
No, sir. No, sir. Call up the pizza. We've got a game. Again, the defense really, 10 plays at the goal line. They really, the last one, unfortunately, resulted in a score, but the defense has just played an outstanding ball game tonight for the Cougars. They really have.
Of course, exciting plays that we've seen in tonight's contest has helped to take my mind off the fact that my wife wrecked my Volvo today, although she came away uninjured, which was my first and most important concern. Secondarily, though, I'm not too happy about my car. But then again, it's Friday the 13th, so I'm going to give her a free one on that.
As long as she's okay. Can always replace the car.
Back to receive for the Cougars. They have one man back. That's Marcel Jamison. They're definitely in a return mode here, because they've got 10 guys up. Jamison's going to have to go get it. Jamison picks it up at his own 3-yard line. Jamison looking for a hole. Jamison looking for going around the left side. The hole closes up, though, and he's finally brought down out across the 20 at about the 24. That was Mark Hashi on the stop for Torrance. Turnovers now, Dan, become real critical. Cougars need to hold on to the ball, move the clock, but most importantly, the last thing they want to need is a turnover in this situation.
It's good to see Milton Gutierrez in the ball game again. Coach Robbins, he knows that Milton's a great ball player. Give him the ball. It's good to see.
He's got him as an up back. Marcel Jamison is a deep back. They send Nick DeRica in motion, and now we're going to have penalties, and the way Rodell Maymont came up out of there looks like it may be against the Cougars. And it is. It's a 5-yard procedure penalty against the Cougars. Going to back them up inside the 20-yard line, I believe.
I think Shed may be telling one of the officials, by the way, we're trying to run a play.
Right. Once again, let us remind you that two Cougars, 7-10 left in the contest. Cougars leading by a score of 28-10. As I say, Cougars without two of their starters, Malachi Yui and Setiana Latu. But they've played gamely tonight. Marcel Jamison with the ball. And now you see the Torrance Tartars going headhunting near. No face mask call on the play, but he was brought down by Chris Safua after a short gain. It's going to make it a 2nd and 13 now for the Cougars. Ball spotted at the 23-yard line. Cougars need to get out near the 35. We've got 6:20 left in the contest. The band trying to bring the crowd back into it, trying to raise the emotional level of this Cougar offense that was on the sideline for a long time, Dan, and may have gone cold. Marcel Jamison still with it. Once again, you got tackles up around the face mask, boy. I mean, this is getting awfully close. We're going to take a station break, fans, and we'll be right back. We're back to live action, fans, and you're going to see a replay of that last play. Jason Zaharik with the catch and a big hit by Holmes. Holmes, who's been in and out of the lineup. You watch him, he picks up the first down, boy, and he knocks Zaharik off of his feet. Cougars keep it on the ground for little or no gain, but that was the hit of the night. 5 minutes left in the contest, fans. 2nd down and 10 for the Cougars. They're leading by 8 right now. They've picked up 1 first down. They need to burn more time. They've got enough points to win. Of course, more wouldn't hurt, but right now, you got to eat some time off that clock, Dan.
Absolutely. Carl Holmes.
If we can see that hit one more time when we get a chance, folks. I mean, that was a big hit that he put on Jason Zahorik, boy. I mean, he knocked the guy backwards 2 yards, Dan.
Yeah, 2 minutes ago, I didn't think he was coming in.
They keep it on the ground once again. This is number 44 with the carry. Keeps his feet going for the Cougars. And, of course, that's Afi Fanoa.
He's dragging some players, among them Chris Story. Some great running by Afi Fanua.
Clock now rolls down near 4 minutes. Third down and 5 rather for the Cougars. Big third down play coming up. Torrance has already burned 2 of their timeouts here in the second half. If the Cougars can pick up one more first down is what I'm trying to say. It assures them of being able to run at least another 3 or 4 minutes off the clock. Herb Shedd keeps it himself. It's going to come up about a yard short. Big decision coming up for the Cougar coaching staff now. And I don't think this is a time that you go for it, Dan. You almost got to punt this one away.
I think absolutely, and it's just the field position is just too close. They're at the inside the 50. They're on their own side of the 50, so a punt here would make sense, but you never know. You never know. Coach Robbins has surprised us many times.
3:15 left in the contest. Cougars leading by 8. Cougars come out. They indicate they're going to go for it. Let's see if they're going to try to draw them off. Torrance showing blitz. Now they call a timeout, and that's what they tried to do exactly.
Well,
so the Cougars take the timeout, Dan. They tried to draw them offside. This well-coached Torrance team didn't bite on it, and although they trail by 8, Torrance is in a position to make something positive happen for themselves.
Well, the passing game really was coming to play for Torrance. Dewan looks like he's ready to go, and he plays one way, and from the standpoint that he's an offensive ball player. And
there
this is going to be an interesting 2 minutes and 59 seconds.
And there you get a shot of the Cougar band trying to rally the crowd, as well as a shot of a young Cougarette who's getting ready to take her place in Cougar lore.
There you go.
Now the Cougars drop back in punt position. Dan Gann, Gabriel Torres back to punt, and of course, a sight you don't want to see. Carl Holmes, who's been limped off, all but carried off, is back to return this punt. Cougar coverage is there. Holmes fumbles it. Holmes picks it up. Holmes is brought down by Marcel Jameson at the at his own 37-yard line, where it's going to be 1st and 10 with 2:51 left in the contest. Cougars leading by a score 28-20.
I tell you, Torrance has been lucky tonight on the bounces. The bounces have been falling for them. Would have been a great opportunity for the Cougars to really wrap this up if they could have gained that ball. Down on that play, Randy Tucker really had to contain on the left side. Resulted in Holmes having to go straight up the field.
1st and 10 for Torrance. Carl Holmes is back in the game. We see him over on the right side. Quarterback operates out of the shotgun. He puts it up. Good defensive coverage there by Nathaniel Harrison IV. No flags on the play. Harrison had excellent position. In fact, he had a shot at an interception there.
He's going for Chris Mullen again. Mullen, the speedy player, the speedy end for Torrance. 5'9", 160.
Torrance now with 3 downs. There you see Marcel Jameson, it would appear, once again getting the leg stretched over on the sideline.
Hamstrings seem to be big tonight in terms of injuries. Boys must be low on salt.
This time Carl Holmes comes to the left. Number 44, Reese, lines up in the slot on the right. Holmes comes out of the backfield. Dewan steps up. Dewan's going to have to pull it down pretty soon. He's still looking. He finally lets go. A Cougar gets a hand in and knocks it away. That looks like number 44 for the Cougars, Dan. And of course, that's Afi Fanua. If that's where it was, it got a hand in there. But there's a flag on the field, folks. If we can get a shot of that flag, there is a flag down on the field.
Looks like it's against Torrance, and it looks like, he looks like he may have gone over the line of scrimmage when he threw that pass.
Well, that's what I was thinking. I mean, the contain had completely broken down, and his players were scattered all over the field.
That'll be a loss of down as we show that one again.
They move the ball back to the 30-yard line. And here we're going to see on the replay, out of the shotgun is Terry Dewan, their quarterback. That's Carl Holmes coming left. Now he steps up. You see where the line of scrimmage is. Well, no, he was still behind the line.
Interesting call. Well, it's still second down, so obviously they didn't lose the down. It wasn't a pass over the line of scrimmage, so we'll have to check what that penalty was. That's it. The 13th is here.
So it's second down and 15 now for
Watch
Torrance.
38.
Once again, they drop back the pass. Here's a pass in the flat, and it's going to fall incomplete. No flags on the play. And that's the most important consideration now. Torrance down to 2 of their last downs, perhaps. Chris Mullen, the intended receiver. Robbie Hughes, the defender. Both of the... I'm sorry, go ahead, Dan.
Oh, you go ahead, please.
Well, obviously, I was going to say both of those guys will be going at it along with the receiver and the defender over on the other side. We've got 2:04 left in the contest, fans. This one isn't over by a long shot. Torrance still has at least right now 2 shots left at it. It's 3rd and 15. Undoubtedly, they will go for it on 4th down if they come up short. Here's a play from the shotgun. This time they run a triple from the right side. He's going to have to let it go, and he throws it out of bounds to no one in particular. 4th down for Torrance coming up.
Sidney Lemieux, watch this. Watch this. This pass rush, watch the pursuit. Sidney Lemieux along with a host of Cougars. There he is. 18, Keitha G. And they had him. Dewan couldn't do anything. Had to throw it out of bounds. Great play. Great camera work, guys, again. That's it. Jose down on the field. He's a magician. He really is. I'm telling you, sometimes I wonder.
Fuck you, Mike.
Sometimes I wonder. Okay.
And they brought, as they do again,
88.
a double slot formation over here to the left side. This is their last chance. They've got to pick up 15 yards here. There's a pass that falls incomplete. There are no flags on the play. And fans, that's just about going to do it for the Torrance Totter effort tonight. However, they have every reason to be proud. Now, barring the Cougar turnover, we've got 1:52 left in the contest. It's going to be 1st and 10 for the Cougars with an 8-point lead.
Well, the Cougars, the defense again has been standing up the challenge. It's terrific. They've been playing a great job tonight. Really have been all over the field. Host of Cougars could really raise their hand on a great effort tonight.
Torrance, no doubt, will be reaching and grabbing for the football. And, of course, that's one of the ways that you give up a quick score. You still got to tackle, folks, boy. Marcel Jameson, normally back in the backfield. Herb Shedd kicks it himself. He breaks through the line of scrimmage. And that'll do it, fans. Herb Shedd, with 1:44 left, scores on a 30-yard touchdown quarterback run. Makes it 34-20 in favor of the Cougars with the extra point attempt coming up. They took advantage of what was there. They knew that Torrance would be pressing right on the line of scrimmage. Shedd breaks through, picks up a touchdown on the run of 30 yards. We're going to see here on the replay the fake by Shedd.
It was just...
And he goes in virtually untouched.
There was no pursuit because there was such a drive going in by the Torrance defense, and a great call by Coach Robbins.
There's a kick, it's up, and it's good. So that makes the score now 35-20 in favor of the Cougars with 1:44 left. And I guess if one had to find fault with anything on that play, it might be that the Cougars scored too quickly.
That's true. It's supposed to be bleeding the clock, but again, a great call by Coach Robbins as the faithful here for Hawthorne happy about this ball game as Cougar offense really comes to life here in the second half, scoring 35 points. Great effort by the Cougars.
35 second half points, 21 in the third, 14 here in the fourth for the Cougars.
Incredible.
And now the question becomes, can Torrance score 15 points in a minute 44 seconds?
That's possible.
Stranger
Unlikely.
things have happened.
Unlikely, but possible. You've seen stranger things.
Yep. Well, it has to start with what would certainly have to be a kickoff return for a score,
And
then an
that's
onside kick.
Yeah,
So
that's
it's
happened.
not out of the realm of possibility. Fans, we want you to stay right here on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60 for the last minute and 44 seconds, because this thing is not over by a long shot. Let's see who's back there to return. One of them is number 4, Dan, Carl Holmes, and when that guy's back there, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. Bet you they
Over on the other side is Roger Valvidia, and it's a short kick. Yes, took us by surprise here. Well, fans, I've been encouraged to. I don't know. I'm going to see one more play. I think it's a little early for the refrigerator, although this is a real good Cougar team as we come back up. But as I was just reminded, and it indeed, Dan, for guys like you and I who are down here in the minor leagues trying to work our way up, a guy who's sort of our role model, Chick Hearn, of course, just recently inducted into the Sportscasters Hall of Fame.
Very well
My
deserved.
only question is what took him so long?
Well,
There's a pass over the middle. It's going to be short of a first down as we've got about a minute 15 left in the contest. Cougars, of course, leading by a score at 35-20. They're now running a no-huddle, hurry-up offense. They spike the ball. I'm not sure why you burn it down here when you're on second down.
I think they wanted to stop the clock. I don't believe they have any timeouts left. Or if they do, they may have one. And they want to get that clock stopped.
All right, well, with a minute left, though, Dan, and the game up by 15, Cougars up by 15 points, I think we can safely close the door on this baby and put it in the old refrigerator. And Chicky, baby, that's
for
done
you.
in honor of you.
That's for
And
you. Well
which, as I
deserved.
say, the long overdue award of being inducted in the Sportscasters Hall of Fame.
Great.
There are thousands and thousands of guys and gals across the country hoping to walk in shoes and have an opportunity like he's had. There's a pass up. It'll go out of bounds. It'll stop the clock with 52 seconds left.
Sidney Lemieux.
Hey, whole lot of things here, boy. Along with my partner Stu Lance here, if we want to go.
There you go.
But as a Chicky Burger would say, needless to say, the Jello's jiggling, the butter's getting hard, and this baby is over. But for the Cougars, this is great. They move up to 5-1, Dan, on the season. 5-1, 3-0 in Bay League action. Torrance will fall to 4-2, 1-2 in Bay League action. But I tell you what, this is a team to be reckoned with. This Torrance team is not to be taken lightly as we go through the season.
No, they're
at
not.
all.
They're really not. And Carl Holmes played a tremendous ball game tonight. And we're going to see this ball club again against Lusinger. And again, they have played a very spirited ball game. And again, great effort, but the Cougars, everybody on the Cougars tonight played an outstanding ball game right on down the line as the defense continued to answer the call and stood the tests, as especially in that third quarter when they had 10 shots at the goal line and actually got it on the last one. But just a great effort by the Cougars tonight, defensively and offensively. It's a good win for them.
4th and 4 now for Torrance. Once again, they're going for it. 52 seconds left in the contest. They trail by 15. Their quarterback shovels it in to Carl Holmes. Holmes turns the corner. Holmes looks for the first down marker first. Smart back he is. Wanted to make sure he had the first down before he tried anything else. He did. Then he got out of bounds. There's no quitting these guys, and you're clearly seeing a guy, Dan, that is showing himself to be one of the class backs in the league. But I tell you, there's a couple of guys he's going to have to compete with for that honor, and Derek Norris at Inglewood is certainly one of them.
Well, great effort, and again,
there's a pass it caught by Holmes again. Holmes has some running room. This may look like it was close to a face mask. No flag on the play, so I guess not.
big buck.
Clock stops on the first down. We now have 33 seconds left.
Pulled one out of the Torrance book in terms of bringing down and actually bringing him down high.
Torrance in the second half has operated almost exclusively out of shotgun formation. There's another pass. This one's to Reese. Now we've got a flag on the field. And let's see what this is. And this was away from the action, I believe. I saw two players. Looks like number 50 for the Cougars and 46. Excuse me, number 50 for Torrance and 46 for the Cougars. May have gotten into something there, because that flag was considerably after the play, and it was also a considerable distance away from the play. Here's a referee now to tell us what the call is. It's a personal foul against Torrance.
Number 31 is in reference to one of the fallen Cougars, ex-Cougar, as this season is dedicated to that player. Looks like we've got an explanation
Well,
here.
we saw it.
Haven't
I'm
seen
sorry,
it.
Dan.
You, sir, go ahead.
With my headset, I couldn't hear you that time, and I
Sorry.
apologize.
Sorry.
What I was about to say, away from the play, we saw a couple of players mix it up. The officials probably saw the Torrance player either initiate or retaliate, one or the other, but he called it against Torrance, makes it a 1st and 25 with 16 seconds left. And right now they're just trying to play to make it look a little closer. Now that's going to be a fumble this time for sure, except he's going to call his arm going forward again. That was Afi Fanua in on the play. I mean, and you saw Afi bearing down on him, boy.
You watch this. Here he goes. Afi Fanua and Marquise Morris. Watch him. He's in there, number 77, as we're going to back this play up. And we'll let you make the call on this one as to whether that was a live ball or not. Certainly looked like it. It didn't look like his arm was going forward.
Okay, that's far enough, guys. Now we can go forward with it. Before we
Bang.
No,
That looked
not
like
at
a
all.
fumble.
In fact, he was well wrapped up that time by Afi Fanua around the body. But at any rate, this will be the last play of the game, fans. We've got 5 seconds left in it. He dropped back the pass. Here's a pass intended for the end zone, and it's incomplete. So, with that, that's the ball game. And there you see Randy Tucker picking it up as the Cougars, after a slow start in the first half, Dan, in fact, they go into the locker room at halftime trailing by a score of 6-0. They explode in the second half of 35 points on a very good Torrance team. And you got to give the Cougars a lot of credit. I think they found themselves tonight. This was the kind of test that they needed against a top-flight school in Bay League competition before they get to the rest of their schedule, which includes a matchup against Peninsula in a couple of weeks. Just a great effort for the Cougars tonight.
Well, no question about it. They looked a little flat in the first half. The defense answered the call, but the offense just couldn't seem to get things going. Second half comes out, and boom, 2 quick touchdowns. Move this game around. Torrance wouldn't quit, though. But the defense of Hawthorne, I think, really took this game over early in the first half. It was just let the offense go, and they did in the second half.
And I guess if we were to give an outstanding player of the game award, my award would go to the entire Cougar special teams. I mean,
absolutely.
They scored 2 big critical touchdowns on special teams on a kickoff return as well as a punt return. Nathaniel Harrison, the fourth 73-yard punt return. as well as Marcel Jameson's 80-some-yard kickoff return. Two big plays that turned this game around and gave the Cougars command that they never relinquished.
Yeah, lightning quick. The momentum switched. Looked like it was going to change for Torrance, but boy, on that the second touchdown, unbelievable. Some great blocks. Special teams really earned their stars tonight.
So all in all, a great effort for the Hawthorne Cougars as they maintain their hold on at least a share of first place in the Bay League. For all the folks here at Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60, which includes our executive producer, Mike Galarza, along with Tom Strickfadden, Jose, Armin, Rami, and the rest of the guys.
Great job.
I'm Rufus Washington, along with my colleague, Dan Simeon. Also, stats brought to us by Alex Manila. Want to say thank you for joining us tonight, and we hope that you'll join us next week on Lawndale's Community Cable Channel 60. Good night.